Welcome back. You're joining us here at On the Reel After the Credits Walking Dead edition. I said that the first time and I am proud of myself. This is our weekly review show for The Walking Dead. One take. Where we are here to talk about Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 4, Some Guy. Joining me today is Mr. Johnson.
How y'all doing out there on TV land? Hey. YouTubes and the Facebooks.
Right. And apparently we have an 80s cartoon character with us also.
Yeah.
Who is that?
That's so random, right? Yeah. It's Tiger, man. Tiger. It all makes sense.
Somebody out there gets it.
Somebody gets it.
And
R.I.P. Shiva.
Mr. Woods.
What up?
All right. Look, so before we get started, I just want to take a moment to say, if you came across this video and you see us, we'd just like you to hit the like button. Yes. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching this thing.
Man, and, really, YouTube. We're trying to get them views.
And no, we love you too, Facebook. We love everybody. So
no discrimination.
Y'all cool.
We have a bunch of other shows. We have a bunch of other content. We do a weekly news show. We have another show coming up called The Second Page. That's where we sort of discuss politics and everything. But check us out. We need your help. We need your love. And we thank you for coming on this journey with us. With that, today we are going to get into this episode, Some Guy. And that guy is a guy with dreads who used to be a zookeeper.
Yeah.
Tell us what you thought about this thing.
It was a good episode.
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Tigress.
Tigra,
yeah.
Yeah, get it right.
Hey, man.
But anyway, R.I.P. Shiva, like I said.
R.I.P.
It was a good episode, man. It's really about the character arc of King Ezekiel and, his whole coming to grips with him being a farce, essentially, because it's just like everybody believes in him because it's just like in the apocalypse, if you seen a dude walking around with a tiger, wouldn't you be like impressed by that? It's just like that's impressive. So it's just like he was able to keep that whole thing up and have people follow him, but it's just like he's being who he needed to be. He had this conversation with Carol about, it's like if you choose to be the hero, in this world, it's just like, it don't matter what you started out as, it's just like, then you choose to be who you are, it's just a choice that you make. You can be a coward or you could step up and be the hero. You could be Superman, because they need that. But in this episode, we just saw, I like how they showed the whole split thing where him giving the speech of, to the people of the kingdom and how we will, beat this thing and how we won't lose one and how they swarmed him with love. But then they showed the juxtaposition of that with them swarming him. Now they're all dead and they're walkers, and that's it's just crazy. Like it's just like basically all of the warriors are now dead. It's just like, what do they do now? And it's just like, he's there, like how does he maintain being the king after, he lost the thing that made him king, that made people believe in him. He doesn't have his tiger anymore, That was his thing, how like everybody has their thing. Like, what does he do now?
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you need a gimmick to be a hero?
You don't need a gimmick, but it's just like because of what this what was his name? The savior, the random savior. He said
Gunther.
Gunther.
We're gonna talk about Gunther. I have things to say about Gunther.
Well, I call him Darby.
Well, basically, what the king said is just like, Negan doesn't even know your name. Well, she's like, well, I'm Negan then, But anyway, all of this, it's just like, it's a lot for him to deal with. It's just like, because that speech that Gunther gave him about, you're a con man and you lucked up finding that tiger, and it's all bullcrap.
Well, remember, he was a level 1 Neganite.
Yeah.
So
he's trying to work his way. He's trying to work his way up.
Level
up the ladder.
1. I mean,
he was low level. Like if you're playing Final Fight,
he's not a general.
He was one of those dudes that like, you just hit a couple of times.
If you just one of the dudes,
they're knocked out.
You're just one of the dudes that Negan, made succumb to him, but you're not a general. You don't serve no useful purpose. It's like, you know how
he's a grunt.
It's like how what you call it? What's his name?
I like to call him a red shirt.
Mullet man. What's his name again? Dude with the mullet who used to be with Rick's group. Eugene. There you go. How he was able to work his way right up the ladder because he proved himself useful. So this guy Gunther, he's trying to make himself useful, but it's just like we saw what happened there. You know, I wasn't expecting Jerry to come out of the woodwork going crazy like that because Jerry's such a sweet guy, you know. But
shout out to Cooper Andrews.
No, I knew. That's what you knew.
What he was capable of, and he's like a gentle giant. But when it's time for it to get down, he gets down.
Speaking of Eugene,
but I expected the tiger to jump out and do that.
Eugene was not in this episode. But you gotta throw something. All right, here we go.
Eugene just seems like he probably slept his way to the top. Yeah. I'm just putting it out there.
You're talking about in the Negan world?
In Negan's world, I think Eugene did some things. I think he used what he had to get what he wanted.
But hey, hi-oh, this ain't the Hollywood episode right here. We'll get to that later.
Right. But, I mean, let's be clear. He is where he's at because he's a scientist.
A scientist?
No, he's a con man.
They all are.
It's like he can do like stuff that you've seen on YouTube, like, but it's impressive to people that he can do these things. And a lot of things like that like things that he does, it's just like he just knows how to do things, but it's anything that anybody could have learned just looking on the internet. You know, it's like Mr. Wizard stuff. It's not like complex things, but because he can do it, other people can't. He was able to con people into doing what he wanted, but he makes himself seem useful.
All microcosms of life.
Oh, life is like 80% about seeming useful.
I know. Clearly.
Perception is everything. All right. Speaking of seeming useful, Mr. Woods.
I see exactly what you did there.
What did you think about this episode?
It
was some redeeming qualities. So, I mean,
what do you mean redeeming qualities? You mean it was ass, but it was just some redeeming qualities to it? What does that mean?
Yeah, it had good parts.
It had some good parts.
But overall, you thought it was trash?
No, that's not my words. I mean, it's a filler, right? And so
now, what does it mean that an episode full of action like this feels like filler?
Yeah, and it was definitely instrumental to
say
what's going on with Ezekiel's character arc. So I wouldn't say it's filler. And that we lost Shiva.
Well,
that's definitely instrumental. Woods, we lost all the Warriors of the Kingdom. So it's not really filler.
Let me ask you a question, because you've been a little hard on the episodes this season. How do you rank this one? This is the 4th episode so far.
Of the episodes, 2 were good and 2 were trash.
How do you rank this one specifically? Would you say that this is the best episode of the season?
Yeah, because something actually happened that I care about.
So to you, guy,
you see how
this
episode,
works? Season 8, episode 4.
I'm glad you did.
Was the best episode of the season.
Well, the best
one. Is good.
Of this season, we're just talking about what it's just
it was the most okay.
Just your opinion.
I'm just but your only opinion. Exactly, and we're only ranking them. We're only ranking them against these 4. So, in your opinion, how do you rank this?
I thought the first one was the second one was good, the third one was trash, and this one was good.
So
2 and 4 did it for him.
So, but
it's the law of averages,
man. You think this was better than episode 2?
Because of the action that was popping off?
I mean, it's 50-50. I don't know. I can't really say either way. But I cared about Shiva, and it's just like, I was, maybe, it might edge it out.
Okay, so this is your favorite episode. I'm not saying this for anything. I just want
It's not the best episode of the season because I haven't seen the whole season yet.
No, but so far, it's
it was
your favorite episode of the season. Okay. All right, now, sorry about that, Mr. Woods. Go ahead. I just wanted to clarify something.
Yeah, I'm used to it at this point. So as far as the episode, the redeeming qualities is because, and this is something that you had mentioned about the investment that you have with Andrew Lincoln's character,
Rick
Grimes.
Business Grimes.
Grime time, man. So
yeah, man.
What that investment that you have with him, when he comes on there, you're like, all right, what's happening?
It's electric.
It is. And the music hit, he's driving, he's right, even though
Daryl
got a little
side
crazy.
by side with on
Daryl's on the motorcycle,
that was so badass.
cruising, looking crazy.
Honestly,
what you got
to say something right now, and I'll say this to whoever's watching this thing. If Daryl, I love Daryl.
Come on, turn it back.
But if he goes,
stop
long as your boy Rick B's Business Grimes is there.
See, I knew that's
I'm
what I knew.
for the ride.
Anyway,
it's Rick's show though.
Putting it out there.
So it was just.
I know if Daryl dies, we riot. But if Rick dies, I'll stop watching. That's all I'm saying.
Well, everyone knows that. But so seeing those characters jump on there, that's what made me go, man. This is what I enjoy about The Walking Dead.
That's what you signed up for.
Exactly. Seeing the backflash or flashback.
You all right?
You see how I messed up there? It is a little
and I'm the smoker.
Backflash. Anyway, so the flashback. You know what? Should trend that. Yeah.
Flashback?
I just
backflash.
It's a backflash.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. The foolishness. Anyway, so seeing the flashback of Ezekiel's character. I enjoy that. That's why I do watch The Walking Dead. For some people, it's kind of slow paced. For me, I enjoy it because it gives me some background because it's all about character development and what's going through their head. But again, as I said, it was filler, and there is look.
Let me ask you a question.
I enjoy.
Slow down. You gonna? I know. Let me take that shovel away from you. I'll hold on to that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Here's the thing. Was it filler? And I'm going to take LeVar's side of this right now. Was it filler if Shiva died, Rick and Daryl got the Gatling gun, which is going to help them and be instrumental in this whole war, and everyone from the king, all the soldiers from the kingdom is dead.
All right.
And Ezekiel is no longer doing his king voice. Like, so with all of that, how can we say that this was filler? Didn't a bunch of things happen?
So let me expand upon that. It's not so much that it's filler, but it's becoming for me more difficult to see the progression within the episode until they get there. Until you're waiting for, because you have to get from point A to point B. You have to get to these major conflicts or situations or whatever that's happening within the show, but you have these dialogues that throw you off, or you have these things that happen within the show that just make you want to sometimes pull your hair out because you're saying, no, man, that doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense in the world that we know doesn't make sense. It's too goofy even for this world, and that is what throws you off in the Walking Dead world that you love, or for me personally, speaking for myself, that I love and enjoy so much. But to your point, to LeVar's point, when you see Shiva die, Ezekiel is now dead man, limping, and
he's a broken man.
He's a broken man.
But
all of their soldiers are gone. He's not himself. There's so much that happened, and that has to be celebrated. But you have these little pockets of that just annoy you, in terms of the dialogue and the conversations, that you kind of tune out, and then you get pulled back in.
So,
what did you think about the episode, Steve? Give us your take.
Why, thank you. Thanks for asking. Here's the thing. I think that tonight, while a lot did happen in tonight's episode, I think the way that it played out, and I don't know if who's our favorite director on this show. He comes on all the time.
Who, Nicotero?
Greg Nicotero, yes.
Greg Nicotero, yeah, he goes.
I don't think he directed this episode, and we can find that out. But
who did, Kirkman or
does Robert Kirkman ever direct the episode?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does.
He does about three.
So the thing is,
because he was on the couch, so that maybe he did.
Maybe he did, but I feel like they didn't say it. But anyway, my point is, tonight's episode felt like network TV. The way,
the pacing of it, the angles they used, the sort of cookie cutter bad guys, the monologuing. It felt like I was watching like
an episode of NCIS with zombies.
Don't say that.
I said it, and that's not like to disrespect the show.
You
but
just totally disrespected it.
That is absolutely.
I disrespect it. I disrespect it.
This episode, I'm sorry, and it's because of Gunther. Like
he was the Lex Luthor of it.
Yes,
he was the Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor. And by the way, Jesse Eisenberg is an amazing actor,
but not.
But the thing about Jesse Eisenberg, yes, he is.
He's good.
The thing about Jesse Eisenberg in BVS or Gunther, I don't know what his name is. So maybe someone can tell us. He was clearly doing a thing, right? He was trying to play a character, and it just, again, I say this all the time. Thank you for reminding me that I'm watching a TV show, and that to me was the real problem. So if we take all of that out, right?
Can I just don't.
One second. If we take all of that out, there is some good that I found, and I'll explain in a moment after I am rudely interrupted. Please. What would you like to say, sir?
What I was going to say was only going to take like 10 seconds, but you had to go give an introduction. Now it's taking longer. But what I was going to say is it's based on a damn comic book. So how real do you want it to be? It's just like how we watch Marvel movies. It's comic book stuff.
Now let me jump in.
So suspend disbelief. How real do you want some comic book stuff to be? How realistic? It's not real, Steve.
Now let me jump in.
Go ahead.
So Robert Kirkman, right, had made a mention of when he was creating Ezekiel. And Sheba, right?
Is it Shiva or Sheba?
Shiva with a V.
Okay.
Yeah, so when he was creating Sheba,
sorry,
get it right, damn it.
So when he was creating these characters, with you when
you've been watching the show how long?
He didn't want to get pulled away from doing things that, he's rooted in comics, and he didn't want to start doing things for TV. He wanted to make sure that he stuck to his comic roots. So he intentionally wrote things that was for the comic, and he said, "There's no way this will be on TV. There's no way, right?" And so with that question of what you're asking of, well, how real are you expecting it? He's of the mindset of saying that in this medium, this is going to work. And in defense of what Steve is saying, that reminding me of what a TV, I know you'll jump back in, of reminding me that we're watching a TV show, is that there's a pocket of fans, longtime fans, who never read the comics. Yeah. And we all give credit to the comics because without the comics, we wouldn't have the show. But we're rooted in the realism of this fantasy world.
Whenever you told somebody about The Walking Dead, and you just have to say, okay, yeah, there's zombies, but that's not what it's about. Because the interactions felt so real. Yeah. And so I just get like sensitive when I see them doing things that you would see
in a comic book.
Not in a comic book. And again, things don't need to
cliche.
Not everything exactly. When they're doing things that basic TV shows do. The Walking Dead is not a basic TV show. And you can say comic book all you want, but when you watch a comic book movie, they don't rip it directly from the page. They take the best parts of the comic book and translate it. You watch Logan, you watch Logan, and that is not Old Man Logan, the comic, but you get the essence of it.
So but that's the same thing the Walking Dead TV show does. It's just like how Carol is not the same in the book as she is on the show. Daryl doesn't exist. Daryl and Merle never existed. Lori had died with the baby in the comic book. It's not the same animal, but it's still comic book based. It's fake.
Right.
So how realistic is it supposed to be? Is it supposed to be entertaining?
Yeah, but don't you want more from it? Do you not feel like it's not as? Do you feel like the writing is on point from where it was from when the show started? Is that what you feel? And are you saying that it's okay that it's campy, or it's okay that they're not stepping up their game because it's just a comic book and comic books are bullshit? Sorry.
Why you always get so angry, Steve?
I know I'm mad. Because I love the show. I love the show.
You was dropping F-bombs and cursing.
I didn't drop an F-bomb. That's not what I did.
No, it's the passion.
I love this show, and you know when you
on
have
that Tyrese drug, Rex salty or you salty?
When you have a loved one that you see is could be doing better, you let them know, and it's because I care. That's all. But what were you saying?
It's fake. But I do want the writing to be good. But I felt this episode.
It's a comic book.
Yeah, it's a comic book. I mean, it got to be entertaining. It's not. It's just like when you go see a Marvel movie. It's not always the best writing. It's just like how we was talking about how great it would have been if War Machine had said, you played yourself instead of, congratulations, you played yourself instead. Congratulations, you're a criminal. It's just like you want it to be a certain way, but everything can't be the way you want it. I didn't write it. It ain't gonna always be.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
They're not just making the show for me.
Yeah,
but
it just has to be good. I mean, it ain't always gonna be perfect.
Side note,
but I do want it to be great.
Side note: some guy, the episode tonight, some guy was directed by first-time Walking Dead director Dan Liu.
Oh, okay. First-time director.
Come on now.
He did all right for a first-time director.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Stop. Don't disrespect him, so because you could have done better.
Now that it's therapeutic for me to say these things. This is why part of the reason I wanted.
But this is a part of The Walking Dead to be therapeutic, to get it off your chest.
I can get this out. Now
Absolutely.
That said, my tough love's gone. The things that I liked about
bring it back
episode,
home. There you go.
So I do like what they did with Ezekiel. I like the understanding that he is a symbol, right? And if we're talking about rebuilding civilization, people need symbols.
I do feel like this was the first time you got it, like, because you can't stand Ezekiel, but you got it with what he represented.
Right, and
they need that.
It was a moment, and I did feel something. Yes, that Shiva was killed, but when he broke character. Mm-hmm. Right, because he's only broken character in private for Carol, but he knew what he meant to his people. But to Jerry, he was just like, "Leave me alone, man. I'm not a king."
And he's like, "Stop calling me that." And when
you know
what I'm saying,
when you see that, and Jerry's reaction to it was just like, look, Jerry was getting ready to be there and just go out because when they were by the gate, Jerry was just like, all right, that's it. I'm here for you, and I know what you represent.
Can I interject? Yes, exactly. You're right on that point, because Jerry knows that without the king, there's no kingdom. The people need that symbol. Also, or else how do they go on? Also, with nothing to believe in.
I think that everyone has to know that it's an act, but they are enthralled by his positivity, his energy, and they roll with that.
They roll with it, exactly.
So everybody, obviously, that's not the way he talks, and they know that, right?
Yeah.
You have to know that.
In a hopeless world, you need something to believe in. You need something to give you hope, and he's that person to do that. And the people need that, How else do you go on with children and all of that? You know what I'm saying? Even though it was based on a lie, for him to be so regal and majestic, it's just like now they have a community. They can raise their family there. They farm. They do whatever. You know what I'm saying? They live a normal life in the midst of the apocalypse because of this guy and him just being, putting on an act.
Right, and that's the thing. I think that they know it's an act, and if he can keep up the act and keep up the charade,
he can keep them together.
Then you know what? Maybe we can continue to be a society,
right? To be something that represents normalcy.
Need symbols. Right. So I will say the positive about this episode is that I was never on board with the Ezekiel character because I felt like he was a very cool comic book character, but he didn't translate well to the screen. And this episode is the first time I felt not that he broke the character, but why and the progression of how
and
the
why
things that led up to him breaking the character made me understand why he was doing what he does, and so
you felt for him.
Yeah, honestly, it was the first. I really didn't care what happened to him, and so to me, that's because now there's another character where, like, you know what? If Ezekiel went, I would actually care.
I would care. It was a good episode.
I used to say if it's not the original cast and Michonne and anybody that came on around that time Michonne came in, I probably don't care.
Can I say something again? Because it's crazy. Because how last week it was just like because we didn't care about, what's his name? Simon or whatever his name is?
Aaron,
yeah. See, I don't even know his name.
Aaron.
I don't even know his name. but we didn't even care about that at all.
Aaron's a fan favorite. I don't think that they
No,
did
we
Aaron's
didn't care about
character
his husband.
Eric. His husband, Eric.
Yeah, we didn't care at all.
I don't know that
I cared more about Shiva dying than him dying. Because he didn't get enough, or it's just like, he didn't get enough camera time for us to care about him. And even though, like, Shiva's an animated character, it's still how much she meant, because we didn't see on camera how much his husband meant to him. We know how much Shiva means to the king and who he is.
Also, remember, here's another little side note, that tonight's episode was written by David Leslie Johnson, who is Frank Darabont's protege.
Okay.
Good protege or bad protege?
Listen, man, everyone needs a come up. And as we just said, that there was a number of redeeming things that was happening and occurring in this episode, right? So, yeah, we can get mad at Gertrude or
Gunther?
Yes. Gunther.
Goddamn toothy smile.
Yeah, and those little things like that, and some of the shots, right, and the angles as we're talking about, and these diatribes that were going on within the characters. But overall, the essence that was there, as I said before, you were never on board with Ezekiel, and what they were able to do tonight made you go, oh, okay.
I like
and
Ezekiel now.
Jumping back on with Jerry, right?
Big Jerry.
And Jerry, and as you just said it, so I'm just jumping back to it though. Jerry said, "Hey man, I know that you BSing, but it's
You're
cool.
a cool dude, man.
You're a cool dude. We got this, and we're not letting you die. We're not letting you go. Now we get to see the aftermath.
Listen,
that's what's going to be.
And again, every civilization is built off of people buying into an idea.
Yep.
An ideal,
and he,
the United States government is an ideal.
He is that idea. This just goes back to any time
we hold these truths to be self-evident.
So him being the monarch or the sovereign, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so there's that, right? That's one positive. Of course, Queen Scarrow, comes in again, saving the day,
popping people through the roof,
killing everybody. I don't know how she got up there
just
in time with no one noticing, because they were right there.
Everybody got shot. So I was like, how? When did she get through?
She
How?
lined it up.
So
because she's Carol, that's how.
I'm on the positive now, but when she's having that conversation with those red shirts, the guys that you knew were gonna
But here's the thing.
That's the thing that made it feel like
nitpicking
network TV.
We
but
care about
it's just they're like, she was just there like, they're not getting away with those guns, and then and you heard the motorcycles like, hold up, Daryl. It's like, cause you didn't see them the whole episode, so you didn't think they were gonna be in this episode. It's just like here to save the day.
Yeah, and again, so there's that,
but it's the OG saving the day. It's just like Carol and then Rick and Daryl.
I think there was some progression for Carol's character, because Carol is a utilitarian, right?
Absolutely.
And every action she has made thus far is like, what is going to be the greatest good for the most amount of people, right?
All she cares about is helping people.
In this instance, though,
she couldn't let Ezekiel.
She said, because she didn't know that Rick and Daryl were coming at that time when she made that decision.
But she knows how much the king means to the kingdom.
Right. I think
it's still all those people.
She had a personal relationship with him.
No, it's the personal relationship.
And I think that's why she saved him, because she could have went there. She just would have had to make a decision. And I think that, and she knew how important that was. But
she's not going to let her friend die to get some guns.
The old Carol wouldn't have done that. The old Carol would have been like, look, the greater good is to save everybody.
Yeah, but
we need those guns to save everybody.
She's been back on board from she moved into the kingdom and the king gave her a space. She been back on and when she decided to come fight from the beginning of the season or whatever, the end of last season, we know that Carol is not going to let anybody from
No. I understand that. Carol was never going to let anyone die. What I'm saying is, the old Carol would have said, like, I love you guys, you're great, but I need to save the whole town. I need to save everyone, because if Negan's team gets this Gatling gun, look what it just did to us.
Yeah,
it
Carol
will kill
would
everyone
never
else.
let anyone die that she knows that's in her group, ever.
I don't know that.
To save some guns, she would never.
No,
the guns
it's not about saving the guns. You have to understand what those look what the guns did.
In
in 2 seconds. It took out everybody. Everybody's dead.
Yeah.
So for her,
limbs taken off.
For her to say that I'm gonna risk Negan getting those guns to save Ezekiel and Jerry,
to save two people.
That is old Carol wouldn't have done that. When she saw people were sick in the thing and they were gonna kill people back in the prison, you know, she's like, I gotta stab them.
She burned everybody.
Yep.
Y'all was gonna die anyway.
There's
no cure for that shit.
This is the point, though. This is the point that I'm trying to make.
Her
Carol is like, I'm saving. She's always saving people, but she will
killed somebody who's gonna die anyway. So the F. She would never. My point is that she would never not save one of her friends if they were in danger.
It's not about some guns. Those guns.
I get what those guns do. Guns kill people.
No,
but there's no way she would ever. None of her actions have ever shown that she would leave a man behind. Ever.
I like
when.
Those guns will kill everyone.
I get it.
No, you don't get it. You really don't get it.
They will. No, but she would never leave a man behind.
Yes, she would.
When have her actions showed that she would leave one of her friends behind to save everybody else? When has she not saved somebody?
When she's left the group, right? Because she's left before. Because she's killed people in the prison, right?
Who were going to die anyway.
Chance. You didn't know they was going to die.
They did, though. So she was right.
Yes, they did. But,
and they wasn't day ones anyway. Y'all just some new dudes who I was gonna say N-words, but y'all just some new dudes who came up with your damn. But he's alive, and they have a relationship. He gave her space. Why would, if you my mans and you did good by me, why would I let you die? I know that they got but she has never shown no action that she would leave a man behind ever.
I don't know. I think she left.
Y'all came in here sick, and you're gonna kill my group. Y'all gotta die. That's it. But if you my squad, she ain't never shown no action that she would ever. She goes through her stuff, but everybody goes through their stuff. But none of her actions have ever shown that.
What I'm saying is, if she's saving everyone, she made the wrong decision in that moment. It happened to work out.
Yo, you ain't loyal, yo. I don't want you on my squad, yo. You just gonna let me die to save some guns, dude? Really? Me?
Okay.
Me?
So you would rather...
So you just gonna let me die because... Okay. Yo, you ain't loyal, yo. You not loyal, yo.
You clearly don't get.
I get it.
No, you don't. You don't get it. You really don't get it. Guns. The guns. No, you don't have that gun that killed everybody. Ezekiel's whole crew had guns, and they're all dead now.
Yeah.
And you don't care about that. You don't care that those guns are gonna get to everybody and kill everybody.
So you don't care
so what is
that
more
Ezekiel
important?
And Jerry would have died. So you don't care about them?
Ezekiel and Jerry.
Yes, they are.
Are they more important than everyone?
On the show?
Than Rick, than Maggie, than Daryl? Is that moment and those two lives more important than the whole war? Because we're at war. Answer that question, please.
In the moment, I would have saved you because I can't think about.
And I would have told you not to do it.
I don't give a crap because I'm loyal.
Because you only think for the moment. You don't know how to win a war.
But I love you though.
Okay. That right there is weakness.
Weakness? Yo.
That's weakness.
Yo, I don't want you on my squad in the apocalypse. Because you would have just lost the war for us. I don't want you on my squad in the apocalypse, yo.
I don't know if I can handle you in the war thinking in the moment.
Yeah. I just know to let you die then.
Okay.
I get it, because you would let me die. Clearly.
It's not about that.
That's what you just said. You would let me die. Okay.
I'm looking at the greater good.
Okay. He's like, yo, sorry, LeVar, you got to die. I know you my brother. But then we need these guns. I'm going to save other people.
Firstly, she just met Ezekiel.
Okay. No, she didn't just meet Ezekiel.
Ezekiel,
when she was there going,
this is good.
Man, when she was there going through her mental breakdown, Ezekiel gave her, he's like, you could be here and not be here. And made sure she had fresh fruit and all that stuff. And how, like you did right by me when I was going through my mental breakdown, and I see you there about to die, and the only way you could, it's like, I save you, I'm going to just let you die. When you did right by me when I was going crazy, you're not loyal. But
okay, so what do we think is going to happen next week?
All I want to say, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about this.
Can you?
This is the last thing I'm going to say about this. Look.
All right.
It happened to work out.
Because the Lord knows
if
you do right,
Negan would
then
have
the
gotten
universe will
those
work
guns,
itself out.
If Negan would have gotten those guns, everyone Carol loved would be dead. Done deal. And we saw it happen in 3 seconds. Their whole squad, they all had guns taken down. So the people that she cares about, Daryl, Maggie, Rick, Carl, Michonne, they would all be dead. just because of that gun.
Yeah, but also it wasn't guaranteed she was going to get the gun moving forward because it was still 2 dudes with guns on her. Even if they didn't have that many bullets, it's still 2 dudes.
2 guys with guns seem like they stand a chance against Carol.
She's moving forward. Anybody, she ain't bulletproof.
Okay.
Anybody could get hit by a bullet.
She was literally behind a car while a barrage of bullets.
Exactly. She wouldn't have got hit. And by the way, she walked towards them, so they could have just shot her while she was walking to the gate.
She also assessed the situation that they have about 6 bullets in the chamber, but none of that matters.
Again, I'm just saying I appreciate her character progression because she made an emotional decision and not a logical decision. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And we need to acknowledge that was not logical.
Yeah, but you're an asshole and you would leave people behind.
I would acknowledge that. I would try to save everyone. And you would let everybody die. And you would let everybody die. That said,
everybody's not in front of me. You my mans and you in front of me. And we don't know what's going to happen. And everything work itself out. I would have confidence that I'm going to save you and everything going to work itself out.
He had confidence that he knows he's in a TV show and it will all work
It's going to work out. We the good guys.
And Norman Reedus will come.
We the good guys.
Okay. Now, that said, last thing.
The Lord helps those who help themselves.
Last good thing I want to say about the show is Rick and Daryl come in for the assist. They get the whole cleanup kills from Carol.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, like when you play the FPS, you playing Halo, and you see a little battle playing out, and then a couple of people are dead, and then you just come in and catch them last 2 shots because their energy is already down.
That's just
Hey, man, what you want to say?
Okay.
That's the same thing Morgan and them did.
So, again, they came in and they had their little combo shot where Rick takes some fire, slide out the way, get Daryl to come in, boom, 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 take out the dude on the Gatling gun. Then Rick comes in for his move. Rick jumped from one car to the other and stabbed a dude in the stomach and kicked him out the car and then steered it into a ditch all in one. That was like an anime. Like, Rick, I think that Rick is Neo from the Matrix.
Yeah.
But, that
was very Dukes of Hazzard.
Yes, it was. It absolutely was. And it was glorious as well as...
ridiculous?
Boy, yes. I loved it, but I was like, damn.
It's a TV show, bro.
That's all we looking at it as now. So, I guess it's just a TV show.
Right.
We don't have to.
It was entertaining, man. I like this episode.
Is that all we want? Just to be entertained, or do we want?
Yes, that's why we watch TV, and we're discussing it, ain't we? We're having a discussion.
We are having a discussion, but if you're gonna tell me the writing is the same, but that said, predictions for next week, and let's wrap this thing up.
Predictions for next week. Basically, it's gonna be a Negan episode, and we're seeing where Negan is at with him and his generals, and what is gonna happen with what's his name, the preacher.
Father Gabriel.
Father Gabriel, yeah.
Yes.
We're going to see what's going to happen with them. But essentially what's going to happen is we're going to see what's happening with King Ezekiel and how things are going to play out.
I don't think we're going to see Ezekiel.
That's not going to happen next week. But as the season, I'm just talking what's going to happen further on in the season. We're going to see what's going to play out with him and how he's going to deal with it. Is he going to be able to bounce back, or is he going to break and stay broken and die? But that's what's happening. Next week is definitely, I feel like Negan is about to catch some W's.
Some saviors. I think there's going to be some...
There's going to be internal conflict.
Yeah. They're going to do that before the W's come. The W's are coming for them.
Negan is definitely about to catch some W's.
Predictions.
I think I will stick with minimal words said this episode. Okay. And just look at the camera. Hey.
Okay.
And next week, who knows? Maybe I'll say something else.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
Tune in to find out. Or
Same
don't.
Bad time. Same bad channel.
Your choice. That's what I'll stick with today.
That's what you're going
with? And I'm sticking to it.
I'm comfortable with that.
All right. He's not salty at all. So the thing is, next week, I think it's all about an internal power struggle with Negan's generals.
Right.
Like, they're going to fight it out. They're going to assume that Negan's gone, and you're going to see who is going to come out in there. And there's going to be a fight. And one of Negan's guys is dead.
Negan's crew.
And I'm pretty sure...
Oh, you think somebody's dying in Negan's
crew? Somebody from Negan's crew is dead. And it's not going to be Dwight. I think Dwight...
They showed that they think Dwight... Somebody snitching. They showed that in the preview.
I know, but you know who they're going to blame it on?
Eugene?
Nope. Eugene's gonna talk as well. Eugene is gonna probably.
It's probably gonna be
the nice guy from that would come
the
to
nice
the
guy
kingdom.
because
He's
it's just
gotta
like,
go.
yo,
Yeah,
why?
because it ain't
Why
gonna be Simon.
It's definitely
he's
Stephen
absolutely.
Ogg. Stephen Ogg is a fan favorite, so it's not gonna be Stephen Ogg, but it's definitely gonna be that dude because it's just like, why are you giving people sympathy? You soft, you soft. You guys.
No, they're absolutely
you're
gonna
the snitch, and they're gonna kill him.
Absolutely.
That's how
either
Daryl
Dwight or
it's gonna be that guy.
No, he's gone. But I'm saying it's either gonna be Dwight or it's gonna be what's his name? Mullet. Well, I can't. Why can't Eugene? That's gonna the blame is gonna come to them, and they're gonna flip it
on that guy.
They're gonna shift it, and then that guy's gonna go. And I like that guy. He's the only redeeming quality that makes me kind of think
two stole
twice.
the cookie from the cookie jar. Wasn't me.
So and that's it. You sure you don't got any other predictions? I know you didn't get in. I know you did. You know.
I'm really comfortable.
Oh, you are.
I am.
You are.
I am.
Okay.
I like this.
All right. That's cool. That's cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been another episode of On the Reel After the Credits Walking Dead edition. I said it straight. We thank you for watching. We thank you if you haven't turned us off by now, and if you are still here, we want to ask you to come back next week, and we want to ask you to comment on this post because we want to hear what you think.
Yes.
Do you believe that this is nothing more than a comic book show? Do you believe that Carol has made some progression? Do you believe that it was a good decision that she would choose Ezekiel and Jerry over the guns?
On the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Yes. So, that is it. And again, please don't forget, like, subscribe, comment. We want to hear from you. We want to take your questions. We want to talk to you, and we'll be talking about this for days to come until next week's episode.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching. Oh, by the way, I'm Steve Johnson, and you can find me at Steve A.M. Johnson.
At the particulars, dude.
At the particulars. At Marty McFly.
Boom. Right? All of that stuff right there.
Don't forget about the people that listen to audio only.
Yeah. Well, you should be subscribing on the YouTube because we're trying to get this
and
money.
The Facebook.
Yeah.
Hey, cool. Mr. Woods.
WhyWoodsWhyNot.com or WhyWoodsWhyNot on Instagram, Twitter, all things. All across the board.
You see how easy that is when you just like appreciate that we're doing a show and you just say, you know what, I'm going to say where you can find me because that's what we do.
It's cool.
It's cool.
Maybe I'll catch on.
Maybe one day. But again, it was a pleasure. Thank you for coming with us on this journey. And we are...